Never mind. I guess you're recording.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we go. We are in the first official episode of the I Disagree podcast. I am one of two hosts, of course. I am Chris Warren. I got my sidekick, my guy over here. Explain yourself, man. Go ahead and talk about it.
All right. I'm Tyler Hoover. I'm the other host of this podcast here, man. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk some NBA. We're going to disagree. And at the end of the day, the comments are going to let us know who's right, who's wrong, and why I was right.
I'm excited, man. I feel like the concept of the show came about because we always talk about basketball, always giving our opinions, and for the most part, we don't disagree usually, man. That's just how it is. I'm usually right, you're usually wrong. We go back and forth and stuff like that. So I'm excited for the people to see this as well.
Only time you right is if you agree with me.
Man, enough is said, man. Let's get into the show. This is a sports cast. If you guys didn't know, we're gonna be talking about a lot of basketball. We're gonna have some stats, some opinions. You know what I mean? Everything is not gonna be factual. We're gonna go back week to week and look at ourselves, and we're probably gonna be like, "Damn, we mucked up on that one." But it's okay though. So we're here for.
You mucked up. All my stuff's on fire.
NBA Jam. I love it. Go ahead.
I was like Charles Barkley up in here. I'll just keep saying it until people finally believe it.
I respect it. I'll be like Shaq because Shaq got the rings. You know, he got the hardware, so he don't just talk about it. He be about it. So
I don't remember you having any rings by anything, man. I'm just saying. All right, but hey, let's jump into it, man. Season started off where about 2 months in here now. There's been a little bit of little hiccups with some of the C word that we can't mention. But what are your thoughts so far about the season?
My thoughts on the season so far is I'm surprised that more teams have not contracted. I guess we're not going to say the word.
But nah, we ain't getting demonetized already.
All right,
man.
Cool. So I'm surprised more people have not been affected. I'm glad that they are taking the proper precautionaries to make sure everybody's okay. And I want to see how it's going to play out as far as how many teams can actually play. I think it's 72 games this season. I want to know how many teams can actually get through that, because if you only have 6 or 7 players that can be active, I know you have to have at least 7, I believe, to be active on the floor. So I want to know how many teams are going to make it that far when they're going city to city and they can still have guests and things like that. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with it. I'm surprised more teams haven't, but right now with the Wizards just coming back from their darn near month off, feels like stint. The Grizz are in the process right now of just trying to get players back on the court. But the one thing I do like with it is the league has only done the first half of the season. So that does give them a little bit of leeway to try to make up some of these games. But, I mean, to think that the Wizards and the Grizz are going to play 72, I don't think it's realistic. I don't think we're going to have a lot of teams making that 72 mark. There'll probably be a few. I can see a lot sitting there in that 68 to 70 game mark. But at the end of the day, I mean, we'll know who the top teams are. I believe, and especially with the playoff system, we're going to have the best teams in the playoffs at the end of the day. So it doesn't really matter.
I'm excited to see how, with this new tournament style they have, what teams are going to bump out, what teams can actually make it. So that's interesting for me. I like that aspect of the tournament style. Don't just let the top 8 teams come in. Let those guys compete and find out who's really the best of the best to be able to make it in for that playoff round. So,
see, I was torn with that. When they first released after the bubble, I didn't like it because my thought process was, hey, they played the games, best 8 or the best 8. But then when you got to see the Trailblazers make that run in the bubble, team that was injured all year, starting to get Nurkic back, and getting, what was it, CJ I think missed some games. Damian Lillard was out for a while last year. Just getting those guys back and actually seeing them all play, we got a better product. I mean, yeah, the series went 4-1, but the Blazers were probably the best 8th seed that could actually play the Lakers. So we got to see what we wanted. So I think that worked out.
I agree. I'm going to agree with that. But even with that comes with them being the 8th seed, they might have to play a team that's the 9th or 10th seed to try to bump it and get into that playoff spot. So I like that because it keeps the game competitive. Basketball is a competitive sport in itself. I don't think it gets the respect because of the fouls and stuff like that, players flopping and things like that. So it needs to bring that competitive nature back. So we need to bring that back. Man, I like that little side. I like that, man. Lakers are the number 1 seed in the West right now. Right there with the Clippers, both of those guys have neck and neck. They got a tie score. What do you think about that so far? Because I feel like the Clippers are on a little streak right now.
I will say right now, I am extremely impressed with LeBron James. And I know I like to
Impressed
throw.
with one of the
I,
with
all right, let
help
me
with King
let me
James. Yeah,
explain.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
me explain myself.
Explain that.
So up until about 2 weeks before the season, all the talk was LeBron's not playing right away. He's going to rest. He's 36 years old. They just did another finals run. He ain't playing until February. We were hearing some till March, and this dude hasn't missed a game, and he's been hooping, and that impresses me because in today's league where it's all about resting and getting ready for the playoffs, to see a guy go out there and do that has really impressed me. Lakers by far look like the best team, but again, we're not even in the February yet. It was a late start. I don't really know what to think of a lot of it. I mean, the Lakers are good.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers are recordly shooting hot. So from
Yep.
three, I don't know how that's going to last.
Mm-hmm.
The Jazz are a team that the last couple of years since they got Spida, they've been starting off slow and then making those runs. So it's just
They're
I don't
healthy right now. That's one
they
of the
are
things.
they are healthy, but
Yeah,
I just don't know what to think about them. But I can't see anyone right now beating the Lakers in 7 games.
really. Okay.
I hate to say it, trust me.
I would like to see a Clippers. I'm a huge Laker fan, as you already know. As most people probably know, y'all watching this. I'm one of the biggest Laker fans of all time, in my opinion.
Bandwagon.
Never, man. I've been a Laker fan since '96, man. And I would actually like the Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones before Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant just happened to be a great player on a great team that I enjoyed. But my first player I ever was a fan of was Eddie Jones, and then Nick Van Exel, and then Kobe Bryant. So it goes in that order. No bandwagon riding there, man. Come on.
Kobe's one. He was one heck of a player to attach that horse to, man. He was fun to
Yeah,
watch.
for sure. I mean, speaking of bandwagons, what is that toilet paper that you have on your chest? I mean, hoodie that you're wearing right now. That's
You got to
what
rep Chicago. You got to rep Chicago, man. Chicago Bulls. I've been a
I'm.
fan since Jordan held Bugs Bunny, and I ain't got off a bandwagon since, man. It's been
I'm not
definitely been some
mad.
rough time though.
I have. I'm right there. I must have watched Space Jam at least 100 times, back to back to back to back simultaneously. It was like one of the greatest movies of all time to me as a kid. I don't know what LeBron's gonna do with Space Jam 2, or I don't want to call. I want to call New Legacy or whatever it's called. But I'm excited to see. I want to see it. The kid in me was like, I hope he does it justice.
I'm just saying with the players in the league today. I mean, you got Curry, obviously LeBron, Joel Embiid, just some of those more personality players.
Mm-hmm.
It could be interesting. And I don't know much about the movie. I don't know who's all in it, who's all starring, who's all backing up LBJ. But if
Mm-hmm.
you get the right characters or players, especially if you bring in some of the old school, heck, I like to see AI in there or some of the old grades. Just I don't know what they're going to do with it, but
I don't know either.
there's definitely a good story to be told in there. But before we get on too long of a tangent, the one thing I got to bring up and ask because
Yes.
it's they're going to be apparently competing with your Lakers. What do you
Okay.
think of the Rockets and the Nets trade?
The Rockets and the Nets trade. I think that I'm gonna start here. I think that if I was the Houston Rockets, I wouldn't have traded them to the Nets. That's first of all. I'm not being that how we went out and the comments that you made leaving out. I would have put you on a team that you probably wouldn't have wanted to go to and got as much as I possibly could for you, and you would have been out the door. But the fact that the Nets got James Harden, excuse me, it's a big move for them. I think that they are immediately contenders now if they can stay healthy for one, and if they can build enough chemistry to be able to possibly play a 7 game series together if they needed to, and be able to overcome these certain situations, like who's going to touch the ball last, who's going to get how many dribbles, just different things like that. They definitely look like contenders. Their defense is a little shaky to say the least. I feel like to be
What
honest with you, they're
defense?
gonna have to get rid of. They're gonna have to get rid of one of those three, and they're not gonna get rid of KD, and they're not gonna get rid of James Harden because they just got him. So Kyrie Irving, I'm sorry, but you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Go ahead, T. Tell them what you think, man.
All right, so the only thing I agree with that is that they ain't playing no defense. I get why they made the trade. I mean, Kyrie went MIA. There's the whole rumors and speculation that him and Harden were all in cahoots with them, trying to tank each other's values so that the deal can get done. Obviously, we all saw the stuff with Harden and going out looking like he gained 30 pounds. And then, obviously, after he gets traded, the reports came out that he lost like 20 pounds in a week, which
Oh
Not sure really
wow.
buying that, but
It's possible. It can run some
then
laps or something. Yeah, I seen it.
that's
I'm not
that's
fully,
a
but
lot
I've
of
seen
weight to
some
lose
weight.
coming from somebody who
Yeah,
spent a lot of time wrestling. That's a lot of weight to lose in a short amount
yeah.
of time. But and then obviously Irving having his family issues and him stepping away, which if it
Hmm.
is all mental health, get the help you need, man.
Yes, for
Stuff
sure.
serious. That's no joke.
Yep, I
Glad if you
agree.
did get the help and the people reached out. That's great. There was a little bit of gamesmanship to play to get Harden on the roster.
Hmm.
Cool. Losing Spencer Dinwiddie sucked.
Yeah,
The assets they gave, that depth they gave up, I
it hurts, man.
I don't see him. I really don't see him being a contender to the Lakers. I know the whole cliche of there's only one ball. I don't really agree with that. But when you look at a lot of the big threes, start with Miami when you have LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh.
Hmm.
Bosh took a step back, gave up a lot of stats, pretty much sit in the corner and shoot threes, but the dude could also
Hmm.
play defense. Didn't
Yep.
need the ball to make an impact. Look at the Warriors dynasty. Curry had the ball a lot. Durant had the ball a lot. Durant can play defense. He's a good rebounder. He's just a big, long, lanky guy. You got
Hmm.
Draymond Green in there to play the defense. And Clay, I mean, he dropped like 60 points off 15 dribbles, something ridiculous the one game.
Yep.
The guy didn't need the ball in his hand. I don't see that with this team. I don't see that defensive anchor. I don't see that guy that's going to be taking a step back because they all could it work? Sure, of course. They could all gel, and this could be one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen. I, I mean, after a couple games in a small sample size, I'm just not seeing it. And I know it'll take time to gel, but when you have James Harden, who to be the most effective needs the ball, needs to score. Kevin Durant can do a lot of great things, but his biggest thing is scoring.
Yep.
Irving's biggest thing is scoring. So when you have guys who their biggest mantra is scoring, it makes you wonder how the three is going to gel. But
I
only time
agree.
will tell.
I actually agree with you on most of those topics. One thing I am going to say is I feel like the biggest piece is going to have to probably be, you're not going to agree with me, which is fine. This is how the show goes, is DeAndre Jordan. I feel like he's got to step up and be a defensive anchor. Like they're going to need him to be that defensive piece to actually get as far as they can possibly go. Without him showing up every single game and being quote unquote one of the defensive, almost the defensive player of the year, I don't see him. I don't. You're right. I don't see him getting. I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even get to the finals. But as far as being a contender against the Lakers, who is possibly going to be the winning champions back to back again, I don't know.
Dang, we actually somewhat agree.
Oh my God, we agree on something.
Because
I
one
just
of the
you guys
one
have
of the
changed. I
biggest
agree.
things that I thought with this team is that we're going to need to see, what was it, 2-3 years ago, DeAndre Jordan with the Clippers when he could actually be a force in the post, grabbing rebounds, giving them those extra possessions, stopping their team from getting extra possessions, and just being that big body down there. Now, the one thing that is nice is the Nets do have three, I think it is, open spots that they can sign,
Mm,
free agents, which there's not going to be any, ball busters out there that's going to be, but there are a
mm.
couple, get a couple defensive minded guys in there just as a little bit of help, and we can see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think the Lakers will need to make any kind of change to then combat this?
That's a good question. I'm 50-50 with it. I feel like at this point, the way they look right now, they look incredible as long as they can stay healthy. All you got to do is have enough chemistry to be able to find out who needs to be in what space at what time. You have a LeBron James and you have an Anthony Davis. These two have the potential to be MVP for the next couple of years still. You know what I mean? Anthony Davis longer than LeBron because, of course, LeBron's a little bit older. But I don't really think that you really need a big three. It'd be nice to have another option if you wanted to go get one, but you have some of the players that can kind of step up game to game. You have a Montrezl Harrell, you have a Schroeder, you have a Marcus Gasol. These players can step up and be a really, and I'm not gonna lie, Kyle Kuzma as well. They can all step up and be a really, really good third piece. So you don't really need a big three to combat because their chemistry and the defense isn't there. By the time you score 4 or 6 buckets, they're still trying to score their first, or they're trying to stop you from scoring your first. You know what I mean? So
No, I think if the Lakers make any move right now, it'll be a mistake.
yeah,
I don't care
okay,
who's out there. I mean, I know I don't want to give up my boy Zach, and I
okay,
know there have been, he's been in the rumors with the
yep.
Lakers. Obviously, I've seen them going after Bradley Beal.
I'm not mad at
Um,
that one.
Before he went to Houston, there was talks about Victor Oladipo.
I didn't know that.
I just, you have the depth. You have a lot of depth. You have a lot of guys that can go out there and give you big minutes, big buckets.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know why you would give that up because you don't. The way you guys are set up right now, and I get the whole cliche of you only play what 7 men in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Rotations really shrink. Guys get more minutes. Your best players play the most minutes. I get it. You guys have so much depth that you can. I mean, obviously, take out LeBron James, take out Anthony Davis. You guys can currently survive. You know, a C word around any player, any kind of injury that may put them out. Next man up. You guys have the pieces to do it. If you mess with that, who knows? Maybe you give up Kuzma, Schroeder, and whatever it takes to get Bradley Beal, and say Beal gets hurt then, or Beal has or gets sick or whatever it may be, or maybe it's just him not getting all the shots he wants. He gets unhappy, doesn't start. You don't get the investment. Then what? Then you have LeBron and AD with no bench, trying to compete against the Jazz, the Clippers, and then whoever comes out of the East, either being Boston, Philly, and we can get to them later. But
Yep.
I'd stay pat. You guys have a better roster than what you had last year when you won the chip. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I agree. Look at we offer 2 for 2. That's crazy that our show is called I Disagree because we don't agree on everything. But right now, you are coming to your senses and actually agreeing with me. It's incredible, man.
I'm going back to what I'm saying. The only time you're right is when you agree with me.
So I want to go a little bit. Okay, do you want to start? Or you want me to go?
By all means, man.
Now I was just going to talk about a little bit of the Eastern Conference, man. Like Philadelphia is number 1, the Bucks are number 2, the Celtics are number 3. Do you feel like the 76ers are the team to beat in the East?
Yeah, I do. Joel Embiid has been playing lights out. The dude is a monster. And we'll get into the topic a little later in our show, but Joel Embiid has been a man on a mission.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, I don't care if he doesn't take a jump shot. Yes, it'll hurt him in the playoffs. Oh, they'll leave him wide open. Cool, let him drive and kick. The difference between this 76ers team versus last year, they got shooters everywhere. Danny Green, good 3-and-D player still. He's not what he once was, but he can still knock down an open shot. We've seen it already this season. And then they got the man, not Stephen, Seth Curry,
the shooter
from the Mavericks.
The number 2 shooter. All the Currys can shoot. This shit is incredible, man. It's in their genes to be able to shoot.
I'm just not so sure if you don't name a kid Curry, he's not going to be able to shoot.
I know. I'm about to name mine. That's why I'm going to name mine.
I'm thinking about it, man. It's just, he's one of the most efficient 3-point shooters ever. Yep. You add him onto that roster when you have, because what are you going to do? If you let Ben drive, dude's bigger than most point guards he's going after. He's going to be able to get a shot up. And if you do try to bring the double in, or if Embiid's in the paint, you try to double him, you're going to hit Curry for 3, or you're going to hit Danny Green for 3. They have shooters all over this lineup now, and it's just scary what they can do. So they're my pick for sure.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that for the most part. I don't think Ben Simmons has to shoot at this point. I do think that eventually he's going to have to become a triple threat because he's not going to always be on a team, or he may not always be on a team, and you can't rely on just having the team of shooters around you. You can kick out. You got to be able to have some kind of jumper at some point in time. So I think that's something he's got to work on. But right now, it's not necessary. They're winning games with Joel Embiid beast moding in the paint, shooting threes from the outside, and just that great teamwork and chemistry that they have. Keep that going. But as the season continues, I do want to see Ben Simmons shoot some more 3-pointers, but they are the team to beat in the East right now. Yeah, I would say so.
Imagine if Ben was playing in the 80s or 90s, though.
Yeah,
when nobody wanted him to shoot a deep jump shot, and they're like, "Yeah, go do your thing, play that defense." Oh my god,
yeah, it's way different now, man. There's so much tape and so much thing. I mean, it's so much like I said, like tape that you can go back to and see what he does and his strong points, his weak points, and so many things that. And people like LeBron James, they digest that shit, man. So you can't have a weak point. You know what I mean? You got to be able to be on your A game and have different ways to attack.
I mean, you mentioned it right there, LeBron James. Look at when he played against the Spurs in his first finals when he got swept. The defensive game plan on him was let him shoot. Don't let him drive. Don't let him pass. Let him shoot. That's what forced LeBron to be able to start. Started with a midi, then he got the deep range. You're seeing it with Ben. They're doing the same thing. They're not letting him pass. They're trying to take away the passing lanes. They're trying to take away the drive and making him take open shots. They did it to Giannis. They do it to a lot of the guys that don't want to shoot deep. The great ones will eventually adapt. Will Ben be able to? We'll see.
Only time will tell. I'm surprised he's not scoring as many points as he probably. I think he should be. He should at least be in that 16 to 18 points per game range. I think he's only averaging like 14 or something like that, somewhere around there.
somewhere around there. But he's got so many shooters, so many guys that can put the ball in the hoop, and Ben's always been a first or a pass first player. So I'm not surprised by it. Would I like to see him up close to a dub? Yeah. Are they winning now? Yeah. Am I gonna tell them to score more? No. So it's one of those things. You just gotta sometimes with really good or great players like that, you just gotta let them play. And Doc said it or best, just go do your thing, play your game. We'll live with whatever happens, and it's
Nah,
worked.
I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad. You want to talk about the next topic?
Yeah. So let's go to. We've talked about a lot of the. We'll do it this way. So, what is your most surprising team so far?
My most surprising team so far. I don't even think I have this one on my page. Let me see if I have this one as far as my most surprising team. I don't think I do. So my most surprising team so far, I'm gonna say, just from thinking about it, my most surprising team so far. Let me see. Let me pull it up here. Give me 1 second. Actually, I'm gonna say it's Utah Jazz. I'm kind of surprised that I'm kind of surprised they're top three because they started struggling so early into the season, but they found a way to be able to gel and get that chemistry going. And then they're number three in the West. You know how hard it is to be number three in the West right now with all these teams that are balling out of control. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go Utah. I have a feeling you agree from your face. Go ahead, though.
I should
Go
have gone
ahead.
first. I should have gone
Go
first. It was
ahead.
my question. I should have gone first. I kind of alluded to it earlier in the show. Utah or Jazz are my biggest surprise just because this is not their normal character. They start off slow. Donovan starts cooking. They get things moving. They work their way up. They become, well, I forget what their seed was last year, 4 or 5, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
But they get around in that spot. And to see them jump off like they have, they're on a 7-game win streak as of recording this right now.
I think so.
And it, there was a debate the other night of if Donovan Mitchell's a superstar.
Mhm.
I don't think he is, just because of a lot of the points that they made with you got to be multidimensional and be able to
Mm,
impact the games in more than one way. And
mm.
Donovan Mitchell's biggest thing is scoring,
Yep.
but the dude's averaging like 28 points a game.
Yeah,
There,
for sure. Yeah.
no one's stopping him right now, so he is impacting the game in a great way. You got Rudy Gobert down there with defense. They got a lot of key players right now. I know Bogan's over there, so
Mhm.
they just they hooping right now, and it's been fun to watch. So I unfortunately agree with you on this one. They're the most surprising team so far,
I'm
but this
three for
one I
three.
know we're gonna disagree on this one.
Was that the most disappointing team?
Yes, we will disagree on this one because I will pick a different one than you.
I'll tell you what. Since I started last, you go first. What's your team that you feel is the least impressive team so far, or the most disappointing team so far?
It's got to be the Toronto Raptors with me, man.
Mm,
I mean, they get Kawhi Leonard, they win a chip. They finally get over the hump. Now, granted, it helps that LeBron James left the conference.
mm-hmm.
He kind of whooped them for many, many years,
Yep.
but they did it. They broke through. That great buzzer beater against Philly.
Mm-hmm.
They got through. Now, granted, I don't think they would have won it if it was a healthy Warriors, but neither here nor there, they won the chip.
Mm,
Kawhi leaves, goes to LA. People were thinking, what's going to happen? They're going to fall down. And then Pascal Siakam, Spicy P, balls out, makes huge improvements, starts looking like Giannis out there. And last year they were good. People were saying they still had a chance to repeat.
mm-hmm.
And then this year they just fell apart. I mean, Siakam's looked bad. Pretty much Kyle Lowry's looked bad. Fred VanVleet hasn't looked great. And I wonder if it's just because of the quick turnaround,
Mm,
the fact there's no fans in the stand. Excuse me.
mm-hmm.
No fans in the stands. I know that a lot of athletes feed off that kind of energy. So I don't know what it is. They've started kind of picking it up a little bit and getting better, but I was expecting more from Toronto this year, and it's been very disappointing to see how they perform, even though there are a lot of factors to it. But
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to say that I disagree on this one.
oh, thank goodness.
So my team that I felt like, which I think that Toronto is, they're very disappointing from what I've seen so far. I am going to agree with you on that one. With the least or the most disappointing team to me, I'm going to say is the Denver Nuggets. I feel like they as far as how they played last year and looked so good in the midst of the bubble and coming back from being down to beating the Clippers to now coming over into the season. I mean, I know they lost a couple of pieces over the summer. I know they had a couple of people that signed to different teams, like Grant and a couple other players like that. But I feel like they didn't find a way to like really adjust and to make these new pieces that they have a core value. You know what I mean? They're still trying to work with the Joker over there, and Murray, he looks good, but I mean, how far is that going to take you if they kind of know the dimension of your game and you can't set up to be able to win these games, man? I feel like right now is the most important time to win games. Later on down the stretch, teams are going to become tired, things like that are going to happen. There's going to be teams that have that, you know what I mean, have the situation where they can't play because of the C. And right now is the most important time when you got to win these games and show up. And I don't see it, man. I don't think the Trailblazers should be in front of them. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't think the Jazz should be in front of them either. So.
I got 3 words for you.
Okay.
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. Can he get him over that hump, though, to get him out of 5th place? That's the thing.
He ain't been playing.
Yeah. Is he hurt?
He was out with family protocol or COVID, one of the two. But he hasn't really played all year. He had a rough first 2 games, and he's missed a lot of games. But I mean, when you got rid of Grant, Porter was supposed to be your third option. And anyone that's going to stick around in this podcast will learn very well. I am a big fan of Michael Porter Jr. I was on him in high school. I was devastated when he had his back injury at Missouri. And I thought the Nuggets won the draft by getting him, late in the lottery. But it's one of those things. They weren't healthy. They are off to a slow start. But I'm not disappointed with them just because I've started to see, they're starting to put a couple of wins together. I know they demolished the Warriors the other night as well, which a couple teams have demolished them. But
yeah, they gonna have on and off games. They trying to figure it out as well. They're another team just trying to figure it out.
They can't get their starting lineup right.
Yeah.
All right, you want to move on to the next topic here?
Let's go. Let's talk about the next one, man. I'm excited. What you got? What you got for us?
All right, we talked about the teams.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the players. Who is your most excited? Who's your most impressive? And the guy that you're like, what the heck, for the player this year?
Is that player individual wise, or are we talking about rookies? Are we talking about just player, right?
I was gonna say player first.
Okay, so as far as being the most impressive player for me, I'm going with your boy Kevin Durant, man. He came off an injury, averaging 31 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Man, he looks pretty impressive. He looks like he didn't miss a step, and he's missed 100 and something games, man. That is incredible. He looks like he's going to be super dominant and possibly MVP this year. So keep it up, KD. Good job, bro.
His numbers will drop because of Harden coming in.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, one of the few stats I actually pulled up before this show here because I wanted to sound smart for once in my life.
Okay. I'm letting you do that for once. Go ahead.
Pre-injury. Now, granted, obviously he's playing with the Warriors, so numbers, they are what they are. Scoring went up from 26 points per game to 30.7. Rebounds up 6.4 to 6.9. So pretty much the same. Only thing that's down is the assist. The assists are down 0.2. 6.9 to 5.9 to 5.7. The guy's coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah, man.
All we heard for the last year was guys don't come back the same. They don't come back the same.
Yeah.
But when you have a guy like Kevin Durant, I mean, he's athletic, but he was never based, his game wasn't around athleticism. It was, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to score, and if I miss, you had nothing to do with it. Like that. So I'm not surprised by it, but that's insane. But for me, my most important.
I was gonna say, does that mean you agree with me? Oh, okay, go ahead.
No. I love me some KD. The Durantula is just fun to watch, and I know the league is a better place with him back in it.
Facts.
My most impressive player so far that has been the Joker.
Okay.
Big man leading the league in assist. What more do I got to say?
That's true, man.
I mean, he bringing the ball off the court. Like you said, I mean, like we talked about in the last segment, they're down players, a lot of new guys on there, and he's just balling out. He's getting triple-double, which is something he does, but it's just coming out like this. I mean, we saw from Fat Joker to Skinny Joker going in the bubble, and he just kind of picked up where he left off, and it's been great to see because I got a love for the big man.
I'm not mad, man. I love to see him, man. He's exciting to watch, man. You know what team I wish he was on? The Lake Show. You know why? Because he'd be like Magic over there, man, doing certain throwing no look passes to LeBron, just looking real smooth and cool out there, man. I would have loved to see him on the Lakers, man. I mean, cahoots. I mean, I was gonna say he walking off the show on the first episode. I make him walk off, man. So, record history. I love it.
I mean, if anywhere he's going to be with, we need some star power.
Yeah, I'm not winning another championship ever in our lifetime. But go ahead. The Knicks might win a championship before you guys. But let's go ahead. Keep going. Let's keep going.
Hey, Kobe White, he balling out.
Kobe All right, so
who's your most least impressive player so far?
I don't think most least is a word, but we'll just go with the least impressive.
Most disappointing player. Who's your most disappointing player so far, man?
My most disappointing player. Drum roll, please. It's going to be Pascal Siakam, man. 18.6 points a game. Now he's giving us 8 rebounds and 4.7 assists, but the team is not looking good. He's not really looking good. He's not looking like the player he once was in the championship winning team. I'm going to go with Pascal Siakam, man. I feel like he should be doing so much more for that team. They don't really, like, the depth is pretty good on that team, but for you to only average 18 or close to 19 points a game on a team where you're arguably the best player on the team, I'm not feeling it, man. You're not showing up to me.
We talked about it earlier. You know how I my thoughts on Spicy P just not living up and not making that next jump that a lot of people really thought he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I got to go look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we ain't talking about, Karl-Anthony Towns. He's he has his reasons for being out and getting COVID and everything like that. But for me, it's D'Lo, man. I mean, this is a team that, the number 1 overall pick. I get it. There was a lot of controversy on who it should have been. I know there was a lot of talk about this draft being weak. And, I mean, you got talent on that roster.
Yep.
More so than anyone else. And you got 3 wins this year.
Damn, man, they got 3 wins for real. I didn't even look at stats for them to even see. I know they were down pretty bad, but I did not know they only had 3 wins this year. Like I said, though, in the West Coast is hard, man. It's gonna be hard to get a win in the West Coast, man. Like it's really gonna be a scrap. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, this is a guy that was getting, he blew up when he went to the Nets. He was able to, after the whole incident in LA and they got rid of him, he was able to rebuild his career, made an All-Star game. Looked like a great basketball player, and then went to the Warriors, had a couple good games, but obviously that was kind of a dumpster fire with everything they had going on there last year. And then going to the Timberwolves, I mean, Cat's played a few games, he's been in the lineup, but it's just they haven't looked good. And it's just been, I mean, I wasn't predicting them to make any, championship run or anything, but I mean, at some point, talent is a lot of talent, and there's a lot of people that say he's, top 2 centers in the league, and he's just not been performing. And
wait, centers? Who's on centers? He's my Cat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's kind of rough on him right now, man.
It is. But I mean,
me personally, I don't even want to judge him based upon right now because his mental space probably isn't even the best, and the fact that he's even probably playing with his mom passing, a lot of his relatives passing, people getting COVID. I can't even imagine the headspace that he's in trying to come back and play the game. Not everybody is the same. I feel like some people are like more like the killer mentality where they would use that to their advantage and go even harder, but some players doesn't affect them like that, man. So I mean, it's rough.
No, and I get that. And then, sorry, my point behind it wasn't that throwing shit at him because the fact that he's even taking the court is, like you said, some players use the court as a getaway. Others need to have their head straight. And then obviously he got COVID himself. So, I mean, with all the family tragedy around that, and for him to get it, it's got to be a scary time. But I guess my point behind it was the guy is an uber talented person. Wish him nothing but the best. And want to see him back on the court because he's a fun game to watch. But at some point, him and D'Lo, I mean, they got the duel that they wanted. All more they want is D-Book so they can have their dream team. But I just want to see them do something. And seeing that, with the roster they have, not being able to put together at least a couple more wins, just was very disappointing to me. But
okay, understand.
All right, let's move on here. Let's see what we got next.
We gotta be going with the most impressive rookies.
Let's do it.
Okay, you started off, man. I think I started off the last one. You go. Let's go. Let's hear it, man.
All right. So I got a couple on here.
Okay.
Because I couldn't just pick one.
I feel you.
So obviously,
I got more than one as well. So
The obvious answer here for if we're talking about rookie of the year this far in, it's no contest. It's Ball. I mean,
Mm.
the guy, he's done a lot of what I kind of thought he would do, where he has games where he looks great,
Mhm.
games where he looks kind of eh. But the one thing I will say is there's been very few games where and even when his scoring's not on, I did not expect him to go out there and have games where he may score 5 points and have 14 rebounds. That I'm surprised by that. Now, getting rid of him because we don't want to talk about him no more. There is a kid at Memphis by Desmond Bain. Familiar with him?
Mhm.
Do you know what he is shooting from 3-point percentage this year?
I'm not familiar. I did see some of the stats for the rookies. I believe I saw him, but I don't know what he's shooting. What's his percentage? So I'll say 70.
49% from three. Come on, let's not get carried away, man. He'd be considered GOAT status right now if he's shooting 70% from three, but
Yo,
he's shooting 49%.
that's really
And
good.
it's one of those things where he was known as a shooter coming out, but seeing him make that transition and being able to see it go in has just been phenomenal.
Mhm.
And the other one, I got to show love to my boy from UNC, Cole Anthony.
Mm.
He had a
Okay.
great buzzer beater the other night against said Timberwolves,
Mhm.
which, for a rookie hit and a fadeaway buzzer coming down the court off a rebound, oh, it was beautiful. And even tonight, I think he just dropped as before us recording the show, he had over 22 points, I think it was tonight. He's
Mm.
averaging 10 points on the season, about 5 assists or 5 rebounds, 4 assists, somewhere around there, 4 rebounds, three
Okay.
assists.
Mm.
And I do think before it's all said and done this year, Cole Anthony is going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year because of the Fultz injury. He's getting the playing time. He's going to be on an average to maybe slightly above average team.
Mhm.
We're going to be talking a lot more about my boy Cole.
Damn, man. I didn't even know he just put up 22. That's kind of crazy. For the people that don't know, today's the 25th of January. It's a Monday. So that's when we're recording this, just so you can keep in mind. So when you want to go back and say, Tyler, you lost your mind for those comments you made, you know exactly what date you're doing it on. I just want to let you guys know that. So now I'm going to go into my impressive rookies. So we on the page with one of them. I'm going to go and say LaMelo Ball is definitely looking great. He's averaging 11.4 points a game, 6 assists. He's looking really good right now as a rookie. That's some impressive numbers for a rookie. I'm not gonna lie, some impressive numbers. The other one I'm gonna bring up though, which you didn't bring up, bad you. Come on, man, you got to do better than that, man. James Wiseman, man, he's averaging 11.8 with 6 rebounds on the Golden State Warriors, who are like on a come up where they don't even have their main play. One of their main players in Klay Thompson. So you kind of got to fill that void as far as just being a piece on the team. He looks really good, and I think he's going to be really good in the years to come. He's going to be one of those main pieces that they're going to need moving forward, man. When you see Steph starting to get a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned, can't really move around as much. You know what I mean? He's going to be one of those main pieces, I think.
So to comment on Wiseman,
Yep.
the only reason why I didn't say him is, come on, man. If I start listing every single rookie that's in this class here, I'm going to be right. I'm going to have the Rookie of the Year then. No, but to go on Wiseman, the thing that I love most about him is you're seeing a lot of in-game improvements. There was a game against, I'm going to draw a blank here on who it was, but
Mhm.
he been on a pump fake, and then next time down was able to get the block, stayed on his feet, and you just see that ability to learn and adapt. Obviously,
Mhm.
you have Draymond Green,
That's what I
who
was gonna
is a
say.
great defender,
Mhm.
and the kid seems like he's able to be coached. Draymond
Mhm.
is always in his ear. He seems like he's calling him out and trying to learn from him.
Mhm.
And you take Draymond's knowledge with an athletic freak like Wiseman is,
Mhm.
and put that together, and then you put him around Steve Kerr and Steph Curry to be able to
Mhm.
actually get his jump shot going. That kid could be dangerous, and I'm not saying he could be Anthony Davis, but I'm saying he could be Anthony Davis.
Oh wow, you think he can be Anthony Davis?
I can see it there. That kid, he's got the athleticism. He seems like he has the work habits. He's learning on defense, and I mean,
Is he a shooter like that?
he can shoot the ball from three.
Really? Okay. I think I did see him shoot one, but I didn't think he could shoot like that.
I mean, come on, we're not saying Davis is like a 40% 3-point shooter or anything. I mean, come on, let's Davis does most of his work down in the post, but
He can
I'm
shoot a
just
nice jumper. He got a sweet jumper though. He
I'm
can shoot
seeing
sometimes.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of similarities between rookie Anthony Davis and rookie James Wiseman with
Mhm.
just being able to adapt on the fly. They can pretty much score at will when they want to, and the only difference is Wiseman has a lot. Yeah, Wiseman has a lot of guys on the court that's taking the attention, i.e., Curry.
Okay. I
It could be
want to
good.
I want to run something back really quick because I know we talked about one of the most impressive teams,
Hmm.
and I do want to give a shout out. I'm not going to go deep into it, but the Knicks, man, I want to give a shout out to the Knicks. The number 8th seed in the East. They looking pretty good right now. They're the number 1 defensive team in the league. The Knicks. Who would have? I would never even thought I'd make that comment in my life, to be honest with you. So to be able to say that is so impressive, and I just want to give them a shout out. I'm from New York too, and why stand up,
Hey,
Greenberg.
let's stay on that topic for a second
Okay, let's do it.
because I got something I want to ask you then.
Okay.
Because we all know who their coach is, Tibbs.
Yeah, of course, man. One of the go-to as far as defensively coaches. Yeah.
Loved him
Yes.
for many years with Chicago.
Mhm.
Runs the players a little hard. Obviously, Knicks also have the top 2 players in minutes played. That's
Mhm.
Tibbs' mindset. He plays a starter. There is a guy on that roster by the name of Julius Randle,
Mhm.
who a lot of people have written off. Started
Yeah.
out in LA, went down to New Orleans,
Mhm.
now in New York. The dude is balling.
He is.
He is. It's been impressive to watch.
Mhm.
Do you think the Knicks will trade him to try to get some draft capital back? Do you think they're going to use him and try to make a push to actually make the playoffs? What do you see going down the line here?
I think that they are. I think they are going to try to trade him, and I think they should trade him. I feel like his value is the highest that his peak is probably going to be. I had a conversation with a couple of my friends from New York. I'm not going to say their names out there, but we had this conversation. They're Knicks fans as well, and they put me on to thinking like we should get rid of him and trade him to get some pieces. And I think that's what they should do. Like they have to get a couple. They can get a really good piece for Julius Randle right now with the way he's playing, and they can make a really good push. I just don't know who they can get. Like, would it be like a Bradley Beal or what kind of player they get? One of my friends said they should try and sign Lonzo Ball eventually because he'd be a good fit for New York. But what do you think?
I actually like the Alonzo Ball. I don't see them being able to, with obviously Zion and all the bigs that they've recently drafted down in New Orleans. I don't see them doing that, but maybe you throw a third team in there. Not quite sure who off the top of my head to try to get that done. Even maybe something with trying to move Kevin Love with the Cavs or whatever it may be. But I honestly, I keep him right now. Yeah, they're not going to win much right now, or you're not going to make a run in the playoffs right now. You're not, like you said, he is at his peak value. But New York has been starved, man. You guys, you have missed out on. I mean, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came to your city and went to the Nets. You guys missed out on Zion. I mean, there were all the posters of that. We're getting Zion. We're getting number 1 pick. They've been starved for some good news. Make the 7th seed, make the 8th seed, make the playoffs, even if it's a first round exit. Like, I get it. You know, most Knicks fans will probably disagree with me and say, no, you're stupid. Like, hey, we want to try to build something for the future. But there just hasn't been. I mean, it's the Garden. There hasn't been excitement in the Garden for how long? Since what? Since Melo left?
Yeah.
Just, I feel like you guys need that, or sorry, New York fans just need that kind of bump right now. So I would say keep them, see what you can do. Barrett's starting to develop. Knox is, he's not living up to what people thought he could be, but he's starting to get better. And yeah, you all need a point guard because, oh my gosh, not Frank. Yeah, Frank Ntilikina. He is not doing it for you. I mean, he's a good defensive wing, good guy to bring off the bench, but he can't run your offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's not that great offensively right now. I'm definitely gonna agree with you on that one. I know my boy was saying he wasn't saying a trade for Lonzo. He was saying that since he didn't get that extension, just to sign him.
Oh, next off, yeah, that I can definitely see that.
He said that was he think that's a good move in the sign, possibly trade Julius Randle for some kind of player. You know what I mean? Whoever it may be, just somebody that can bring them the potential of just being an offensive and a defensive threat to bring them further into the playoffs. I don't know who it would be though. I can't even tell you off the top of my head who to even trade him for. If I had to think about it, I'm honestly not sure. At this point in time, I don't know, man. I don't know who you try to get for him.
Maybe even an Eric Gordon off Houston. I mean, Houston's kind of selling right now. Let me get
Eric
them.
Gordon kind of old though, but
he's still a walking bucket. That dude can get a shot whenever he wants it. But I would say if you're going to trade him, you're going to want to get some draft capital because you guys are still in the rebuilding process. If you're going to go that route, see if you can get a top 5 protected lottery pick for him. Never know. I've seen stranger things happen. Sam Presti has gotten a lot for, look at his haul for Chris Paul that he got. And nobody wanted him. So that being said, but we'll move on there. That was a
Yeah, for
good
sure.
one to talk about, but
Yeah, I want to bring that up for sure.
no, definitely. So here's one I got to watch or got to ask.
Mhm.
Young players around the league right now have been balling.
Mm-hmm.
You got your, I mean, Anthony Davis is still young. You got your Lucas. You got your Kristaps Porzingis, Ben
Mm-hmm.
Simmons. Under 25, who is your favorite player to watch?
Under 25, who is my favorite player to watch? We talked about this. We spoke about this being something that we were going to talk about, and I did not write it down. So just give me 1 second. I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna
I'll
look
go
this up
first with
really quick
this.
because I think I know who it is I want to, but I just want to make sure I check the age and see how old they are.
So for me, there's two guys here. One, Luca Dontich. I mean, what can I say about that kid? He's walked in the league, pretty much a walking triple double. You never know what he's going to get for a guy that is unathletic and not going to be able to compete with the athletes in the NBA. The
Mm-hmm.
dude has just he's put on a show almost every night he's walked out there. Second year in the league, All Star, already going into the season talking about he should be the MVP favorite. But I'll have to put him as number two. Number one is my boy Ja Morant, and it's
Mm-hmm.
killing me right now that the C word is running through Memphis, just because the guy comes back from an injury, looks better than ever. He
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of a young Derrick Rose, which obviously Chicago, diehard Rose fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just it doesn't matter if they're getting blown out by 30 or up by 30. I'm going to tune in to watch him play just because you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know what kind of highlight dunk he's going to get, what kind of move he's going to pull. And I mean, I know today's era, the three ball is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some old fashioned get up there above the rim dunks, and Ja puts on a show.
I like that. I like that. Those are two really true. Those are two really good choices. I mean, you can't argue with them. They look really great. But I'm gonna go with one of the two different choices. So I'm gonna keep your choice for Luca, of course, because I know you're a huge Luca stan, and if you got a chance to keep his underwear, you probably would, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean?
I'd have that frame behind me. Don't get me wrong.
Whatever floats your boat. But the second player I'm going to tell or say who's been impressive for years now, which is why I'm giving him that because it's not just a 1 year thing. But Devin Booker. Devin Booker is 24 years old, man, and he is lighting it up, and he's been lighting it up. And you see what they're doing over there with the Suns. The Suns they're impressing me only because I wasn't sure what Chris Paul was going to be able to bring to that team and do over there, but he's been pretty great. So I'm going to give that second one to Devin Booker, man. I think he's been great for the last couple of years. He's going to continue to be great for the years to come. I'm excited to see what he does in the future. So
D Book is definitely one of those players that you always want to tune in to watch.
yeah.
My thing with him, I was excited when they got Chris Paul. I wanted to see what would happen if they, brought him in, actually had the point guard run that offense. Obviously, he gets a lot of centers, a lot of buckets. So figured we see DeAndre Ayton, pop off, and he's kind of struggled to find his role early on this season. But yeah, Booker's great to watch. The only thing I will say that I think the Suns messed up on, they had Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State on the board to put behind Chris Paul to learn from him from the future, and they passed on this kid in last year's draft. And after what he's been able to do with the Kings, I think they're regretting that one. But yeah, it's the Suns started off hot. They really regressed a little bit, so we'll see how they finish off. But I want to see D Book in the playoffs.
I do too. I want to see how it perform. I think he'd actually be really good. I think he's gonna do something incredible. He's gonna have like a playoff run as far as like where he scores. He might get like a scoring title for the playoffs or some crazy shit like that. I can see it. I can see him going off, man. I can see him either hitting like so many 3-pointers to be able to break a record or something like that. That boy, you never know what he's gonna bring every single game. He's a walking bucket.
So we may have to change the title of this show here because I agree, man. If you I just think you put Devin Booker with his ability to score from anywhere, and you give him a pressure situation, I think he's going to ball out. I really, really do. I mean, we saw what happened when the Suns were in the bubble. They went undefeated. Devin Booker was out there just shredding people.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see him get in. I want to see what he can do. But we can't. We're going to talk about young guys in the league tearing it up. We can't leave out Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that's another one I saw on the list, but I said I can only bring up two, man. I can't keep going, but Jason Tatum's another one. We can keep going and go. There's a lot of players I saw under 25 years old that are like balling out of control, man. I mean,
I,
it's a young man's league at this point in time.
it
Honestly, how
definitely
I'm
is.
looking
I
at
mean,
it.
you just got to give a little bit of love to Tatum. I know he,
Do. Yep.
as you know, net of recording, this is his first game back against my Bulls, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping for a little bit of rust on his part to not torch us completely. But I mean, he's just another one. He walks in the court, and you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's going to be great, but just how he can tear it up, and then his running mate with Brown, they're just. That's a topic for another day, though. But
Yeah,
there's a
definitely.
lot of great young talent in this league, and it's fun to watch, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me as well, man. We got to go back really quick though, because we didn't talk about the least impressive rookies.
That's right, we didn't.
So we got to go back a little bit, man. Do you want to start it off, or you want me to start it off?
Start her off. See what
All
you
right.
got.
So the least impressive rookie I saw was Killian Hayes. I think he was what? I think he was top 5 in the draft or top 6 or somewhere around there, right? He was up, he was even further, right? So he was up. That's what I'm saying. He only averaging 4.6 points
Oh no,
per
like he
game.
was up. He was like I think Killian Hayes went
Like 7. I think like 7 or
12.
something. You going? No, it was not. Was it that high, Killian?
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
Killian.
wrong. I thought Killian. I thought he was like a top 8 or 9 pick in the draft, but he's only averaging 4.6 per game and 3.6 assists. Man, he's not looking really good. Not really looking efficient. I think he's averaging somewhere around 19 minutes a game as well, which is like, what are you really doing out there, man? Like, what's going on?
Sorry, you're right. Killian Hayes was 7th in the
Right? I
draft.
thought he was 7. That's
Yeah,
what
he
I
was
thought.
7th. He was 7th in the draft. My most depressive or
Impressive. Most least impressive. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm
the least
only
impressive
messing up
one
the
for me.
vocab like you.
It's gonna kill me to say this because I was all about him,
Mhm.
but so far has been my boy Denny with the Washington Wizards.
Mm.
I mean, I want to say it's a Luca effect. I saw him. I saw another, A and B combo right there, and was like,
Mhm.
okay, this guy could be something. I watched a lot of his international games.
Mhm.
He can do it all. He could score. I know they said his shooting from deep was a little iffy, but first preseason game went out and was perfect. Um, Part of it's just the Wizards. Part of it, I think, is playing with Westbrook, but I just haven't seen the impact that I thought I would see from him. Now, granted, it's a very small sample size because the Wizards had a long break, obviously. So there's room for him to pick it up, but I just expected more from Denny.
Mm. I can't be mad at that, man. I'm not really too familiar with him. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna go back and check some of his games out and look and see what pick was he
Denny fell to the Wizards at 9th, I believe.
at 9? Okay, at 9th. And you don't know his points per game? I'm assuming no.
No, I didn't pull up the stats for that.
No problem. No,
It,
so I don't
a
know
couple
too
points, couple rebounds, couple assists. Like it's nothing
nothing too
too much,
impressive.
but he's one of those players that I figured he would get a jump in numbers just because of the fact that he's going to the NBA. It's a faster paced game. He's a guy that likes the ball in his hand and can make a lot of great passes.
Mhm.
I figured it would be like somewhat with Luca, where he'd be able to not obviously the extent, but if he could be half of what Luca was,
Mhm.
all right, I can take that for a rookie point guard or rookie small forward.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm not too familiar with him. I'm gonna go check out some of his game. I'm gonna make sure to check him out, and I'm gonna talk about him on the next episode that we have because I do want to take a look at him. Somebody that I feel like you are a student of the game, man. So somebody that you're impressed with. I'm gonna be honest with you. Your resume is pretty good as far as the players that you like and that you enjoy. I mean, Dontich, a couple of players that you like. I can't be mad at it, man. You don't have too much of a bad resume in your rep, so I'm gonna go check him out.
Also, though, just go back to it. So he's averaging 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay.
And the biggest part of the disappointment is just the assist. And now,
Yeah.
granted, Westbrook's on the court. He has the ball out of his hands, but then he has run a lot with the second unit.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just expect a little bit more from him. Could be a little bit of bias because I wanted my Bulls to draft him, although I'm very happy with Patrick Williams. But
Yeah.
we'll see how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed with the Wizards in totality, man. They're not looking too good, man. I thought that with that front or that backcourt, they'd be a little bit better, but it is what it is.
Oh man, my brother-in-law was talking a lot of smack going into this year. He was happy to get Wall out, bring Westbrook in.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting there. He knew that they weren't going to be top 2 or 3, but that 4 seed, maybe fighting for the 3rd seed, and
Yeah.
being able to actually make a little bit of noise, which with the roster, kind of see it. Westbrook's done a lot more in the Western Conference with less. Get it, he's older.
Mhm.
Get it, he's been definitely been deteriorating and slowing down. But I don't know. Them as a whole squad has just been disappointing all year.
Yeah, I must agree with you on that one, man. So speaking of the Wizards, man, one thing I want to talk about, you told me that you feel like Bradley Beal is overrated. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to pull up his stats and let you know what he looked like this season. He's number one in scoring at 34.5 points per game, 48.9% from the field goal with 5 assists and 1 steal. How 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 can that possibly be overrated? I want to get your opinion on that one.
Okay, I'm going to slow this down for you. How many wins has it led to?
I don't even know. I have to look up and see how many games they won this season. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't think
3.
they won 3. Oh, sorry. I think you did say that, right? No, you said another team won 3.
Yes,
Goodness
Minnesota.
gracious. Damn.
Wizards are 3-9 right now, I believe. Now, granted, they missed Roy Hachimura for a few games. I think he missed the first 2 games of the season.
Okay.
And then he did come back. But and my thing is the guy an all-star? Yeah. Is he a walking bucket? Of course. He can get a shot whenever, wherever he wants. My thing is they're talking like Bradley Beal is a top 5 to 7 player in the league.
I mean, he's the number one scorer
on a crappy team. He's taking all the shots, and they're not winning. They're playing no defense. I mean, how many teams do you know can put up 130 points and lose consistently? Their points per game is out of this world. I don't think they could guard my 10-year-old cousin. Like they can't guard nobody, and that's part of it with it because I mean, what is one of the biggest criticisms on Devin Booker? He puts up great stats, but he can't win. He can't make the playoffs.
I was gonna say he doesn't play good defense either, but go ahead. Doesn't play great defense.
That's true, but I mean, he at least puts an effort out there. I watched some games with the Wizards, man. They're just waiting for them to put the ball in the basket or throw it out of bounds to get the ball and try to score again. And I understand that mindset of we're going to try to outscore you, but not like that. I mean, you got to at least attempt to play defense. And my thing is, I think he's overrated because I don't think he's as phenomenal of a player that people are giving him credit for. And like I said, he can score, but if it doesn't accumulate to anything, what's it matter? At the end of the day, basketball is a team game. And I may drop 50, but if the other team drops 90 and I'm taking all the shots and no one else on my team gets in a rhythm, nobody else is really getting much action, when we get blown out by 40, no one's going to really care that I dropped 50. I mean, Beal said it himself when he dropped, what was it, the 60-point game.
Yep.
I'm tired of setting these records with losing. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, he definitely deserves to be an all-star, but to me, he's overrated. I don't think he is the top echelon of players that you hear, on ESPN and, Fox Sports and all these other places. I'm not seeing it.
Okay. I can't argue with that, man. I mean, I think he's a great player. I think if he went on a different team that was a contender team, he would be somebody that would be called upon possibly to hit a game winner or two. So he would still be used to his best benefit. I don't know if he's overrated. I just think that he's in a system that he's not being utilized correctly. I'm just going to say that. Like, I think he's just being used wrong in a bad system.
Well, let me ask you this. So right now, Lakers are a contender, correct?
Yes.
Clippers are a contender, correct?
Yes.
Would you say Philly's a contender?
Yes, Philly's a contender.
Would you say Boston's a contender?
Yes, Boston's a contender.
What about Utah?
Is Utah a contender? They could be because they have a chance to make it to the. They got a chance to make it to the final. I'm gonna say they contender. Yes.
All right. So this is my point with it. Of those 5 teams, if you took Bradley Beal, put them on one of those teams.
Not Utah. He can't put them on Utah because they already down information. But go ahead.
But my point being, if you put him on that squad, let him run the small forward. Who cares? Or kick Mike Conley out, let him run point. But my point is for those 5 outside of Utah, wouldn't he be considered the third option? Or the third star? If you're rating him tier-wise?
On the 76ers, He'd be a 2B option. I'm not gonna say he'd be a third option, only because he's more efficient as far as different ways you can score than Ben Simmons, if that makes sense. So I don't want to really say he'd be the third option, but you can't really count on Ben Simmons to shoot a 3-pointer. If we're down by 3 points with so many seconds left, is Ben Simmons a factor at that point?
No, but if they're down by 3, I want Seth Curry to take that shot over Bradley Beal.
Okay.
Just because he percentage-wise, I guess my point behind it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying, though.
You're not going to trade Beal for Simmons. You're not going to trade Beal for Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
You're hopefully not dumb enough to trade AD or LeBron for Beal.
Yep.
I'm not, so he'd be third option there.
Yep.
I'm taking Tatum and Brown over Beal.
I might take Beal over Brown. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. Brown is really great. Don't get me wrong. Boy, he's a young beast there. Don't get me wrong. And he plays both sides, offensively, defensively, very well. But I might take, if I'm looking for a bucket, I'm taking Beal.
If we're looking for an entire game or somebody that I'm putting together two guys that are going to go win me a chip,
yep,
Beal's got to be my third option.
Okay,
my third level player on the team. Again, my opinion.
Yeah,
it's just Beal has never really been playing defense, but granted, he's never had to play defense because they've not really been playing for much since Beal's been in the league. I mean, a couple playoff bursts, but most of them they just got whooped and kicked out. But
yeah.
So who do you think is the most overrated player in the league? Not to put you on the spot there.
No. The most overrated player in the league. The most over. I would say I'm gonna say Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say Giannis is one of the most. Yeah, he's one of the most overrated players to me, man. He plays decent defense. He's not that great. Yeah, he doesn't play that great defense. Like if you looked at the game the other day when he was playing against when they were playing against I want to say it was the Clippers. Who were they playing against? Was it the Clippers the other day?
They played the Lakers the other night.
Yeah, it was the Lakers the other night. But I think it was a team before that. And he didn't even like guard the best player on the team, bro. He's not really that great as far as defensively. Don't get me wrong, he can go to the rack. Offensively, he's got some game there, man. But if you can stop him from going to the rack, like you've seen when he played against the Miami Heat last year in the playoffs, yeah, he's not really that efficient, man. Like he can be stopped. So I think I would say he's the most overrated player in the league to me.
Two-time MVP.
Yeah, but LeBron last year.
Reigning defensive player of the year.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve it.
I want him overrated. I will agree with your point about he doesn't guard the best player. He's always kind of shy away from that. That's some of the criticism with it. His free throw percentage has been on a constant decline.
Mm-hmm.
I think over the last 5 years, he started at like 76%, is down to 55, 56% for the
from the free throw.
From the free throw line.
That's horrible. You see what I'm saying?
It's been going down. And it's I can see, all jokes aside, I can see your point with it. I wouldn't know if I would say he's the most overrated player in the league.
Okay.
Just because of the fact that he does so much on the court. But the one line with it is if Giannis can get a jump shot, it's over for the league. Yeah, we've been saying that since 2018?
Yeah, it's if though, you know what I mean? Like what's going on? If you can't even shoot free throws, let alone 3-pointers.
Yeah, it's starting to get. I mean, he's shooting decent from the three. I mean, he's getting better at it, but I don't know. It's one of those things though. Like, if you can't trust him late in the game,
yeah,
he can't. He's obviously shown he can't in the playoffs get it done. And some may say it's his team, but
I'm gonna say so. He got a lot of pieces around him. I'm actually gonna make this statement to say. He needs to be the second option on the team, to be honest with you, for them to win the championship, which is why I'm surprised he didn't leave the Milwaukee to go somewhere else like the Lakers or like somewhere like that. Or what team? There was another team.
Miami.
Yeah, Miami. And there was one other one, though. Who else won them? Dallas. I think the Dallas Mavericks were talking about him. I think he should have went to somebody like a Dallas Maverick or something like that. He should have been a second or third option on the team. Then he'd be way more efficient, and you wouldn't have to worry about him making these little, just making bad choices at the end of games and things like that. I think he'd been better on a team where he'd have to be the first option and everybody look at him. In my opinion.
I don't know. I think him being the first option is fine. I think he's a two-time MVP. I just think he got it last year.
LeBron should have been MVP last year, but go ahead. Come on, man.
Nah. Bronny looking good for it this year so far, but I think he just needs take him and swap him with Ben, and have all those shooters and all those weapons around him. I think we'd be talking a little bit different story because you can't crowd the paint like they are. But No, we'll see. I also think he should have tested free agency at the end of this year and just saw what happened. But I don't think Chris Middleton's that. I don't think Chris Middleton's up is all that he's cracked up to be. But
I like Chris, man. I'm gonna be honest. I like Chris. I think he's a great 3-point shooter. He's a threat. He can drive he can drive in the paint and he can shoot. My only thing about him is sometimes he doesn't show up under pressure, which is the problem for me. You have to be clutch, and I don't feel like he has that clutch gene. That's the only thing that takes it away from me as far as him being a all-star, because I think he had potential to be an all-star, but he doesn't have the clutch gene to show up when it really matters. So well, that kind of takes it away. You become unreliable when you don't have the clutch gene. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
I agree.
I do want to talk about one more thing here.
Let's
I
go.
thought about a topic, which is the X factor. We don't have to do every single team, but my thought was the 76ers X factor. I said Tobias Harris, and you laughed me out of the room. But I want you to know that he's the second leading scorer on the team with 19.4 points per game and 6.6 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block on a team that's number 1 in the Eastern Conference. Without him showing up in that team, they're not. They're not the number 1 team in the East without him. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
That it?
That is all I want to say. I want you to come back, and I know you disagree. This is the segment. I disagree. Let's go.
I do. For me, I mean, Tobias Harris he's a good player. He's getting paid a lot of money. I think he's the highest paid player on the team. He is back with Doc, which is a good thing because Doc was able to get the most out of him with Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the X factor on that team is Curry. Just because he is going to get so many wide open looks, which is weird to say that a Curry is going to be getting wide open looks. When you have Embiid dominating the post like he is, you have Simmons who's going to want to try to drive in, and you're going to have Danny Green on the other wing. He's going to get a lot of open shots. And if he's able to hit them and keep doing it at the clip that he has been, that's going to be huge. If he can if he can keep hitting those shots when they're in the playoffs and they need that big basket, because what do they always say for big men? It's hard for them to come up at the end of a game when they're crowding the paint. It's hard for a big man to take over. We're not back in 2000 with Shaq. Like, it's hard to have that guy that you can toss the ball to, and he's going to pop it up and it's going to go in. To me, I think the X factor is going to be Curry on the 76ers. Just look what he's done everywhere he went. He was with Portland. They made the Western Conference Finals. They've barely been able to. I mean, granted, they've been riddled with injuries, but they've barely been able to make the playoffs since then. Went to Dallas. Dallas was better with him. Look at Dallas so far without Seth Curry. Just that other option that and it could be a night where he just explodes for 20, 25 points. I mean, having that ability, because like you said, Tobias Harris is their second leading scorer.
Yep.
That's going to be somewhat consistent. If it goes away, sure. What if Embiid stops scoring?
You can have Harris pick it up. I feel like, man. One thing I do want to say, I don't disagree with you on that. As far as Seth Curry, I think he's an incredible shooter, and he's definitely going to bring value to the game and that team for sure. But I feel like defensively, you got to be able to play both sides of the court. Seth Curry is not going to be one of the best defensive players on a team, let alone this team. I think Tobias Harris will. Like I said, he's averaging 1 block, 1 steal a game. He's looking like he's bringing value offensively and defensively to that team for sure.
No, I agree with that. But if you have him on a lineup with Danny Green, the better scorer you're going to put Danny Green on. He may not be hitting the threes in the clip that he was, but he's still a good defensive player.
Better than Tobias, you think?
What's up?
Better than Tobias, you think?
I'd say Tobias has him by an edge, but I still think Danny Green's a really good defender. So you don't really need Curry to do that. And Seth is bigger than his brother. He's got a longer wingspan, and he's not as much of Steph tries to play defense, but it just doesn't work. Steph's not a very good defender.
He's too wiry.
Seth isn't as bad, and I mean, I don't have the defensive ratings off the top of my head with him, but
that's all good.
You just seem like when you watched him out with Denver with the Mavericks last year, he's able to do enough to contest. He's able to do enough to, slow down the opposing player. I'm not putting him on their best guard scorer, but you said you have Tobias, you have Danny Green out there. I just think for me in the playoffs that one guy that's going to step up, and that you would need to make a jump in the playoffs, I think you will see a bigger jump from Seth Curry than you will Tobias Harris. I think that if Curry can jump up, because he's already averaging like 15 points a game, if he can jump up in the playoffs, especially with Ben flinging the ball around, to me, he's the X factor.
I'm not mad at that, man. I mean, I can't argue with it. That shit opinion. I feel you on that one, man. I'm not mad at you on that one. I do want to get into some X factors, only the ones that are like the 1 and 2 seeds. So like the X factor for the Lakers. Who do you think would be the X factor on the Lakers?
Probably Dennis Schroeder. Just
Okay.
because that another scoring threat. I mean, yeah, I'm going to stick with Dennis Schroeder. You have the guy who arguably should have won Sixth Man of the Year last year. Granted, he's starting for you at point guard. The dude's a walking bucket. He's an upgrade definitely in the regular season than Rajon. But, I mean, playoff Rondo is still a thing. And we saw it last year with the run. He's not going to go out there and drop, 25, 30 points, but what he's able to do defensively and moving the ball, Schroeder has a lot to live up to. But again, just having somebody that can take the pressure off LeBron, take the pressure off AD, one of them gets into foul trouble, or one of them just having an off night. We've seen already this year a couple times AD just having an off night and having Dennis go out there and just dominate.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that one, man. I'm gonna say Dennis Schroeder is one of them, but I also think Montrezl Harrell. When I think of basketball, I think defense wins games. Montrezl Harrell is gonna be that player that comes out there. He's gonna hustle every single game and show up every single day, getting rebounds, playing defense, making sure that the other team just has less points than his team. You know what I mean? And he's one of those players you're gonna need when it comes playoff time to give you that morale boost, that plays that good defense, that gets those hustle plays to allow you to win games. So I'm gonna give them both that, but I'm gonna edge it a little more towards Montrezl Harrell for that one. I think he'd be the X factor for the Lakers. Yeah.
I can't handle that because I was back and forth on that in my head because they're both very similar roles. I mean, both Montrezl won Sixth Man of the Year. Schroeder was runner up. They're both known as that 6-man role, and Montrezl Harrell is a dog, man. I mean, he
definitely is, man. I'm surprised the Clippers gave him up. That was crazy to me, man.
He has some stuff going on in the bubble, and he didn't show up as well. But I mean, that guy is the heart and soul of what you want, especially leading off your second unit.
Yep.
What about the Clippers, man?
The Clippers, I would say the X factor on the Clippers, who hasn't, I don't know if he's shown up yet much this season, but it's very early on. I'm gonna still say Lou Williams, man. I'm gonna say Lou Williams for me is the X factor. I mean, some games and sometimes you're gonna have where Kawhi Leonard is just a little bit off, or Paul George is a little bit off, and you're gonna need that third person that can come in and give you points. And I think that's going to be Lou Williams, man. I mean, as you know, he's a walking bucket, man. He's been a walking bucket since the 76ers, and he's going to continue to be for the rest of his career. He's kind of like I don't want to say reincarnated because the man is still with us, but he's like a reincarnation like Jamal Crawford for me, man.
I can definitely see that.
He's a walking bucket. He'd be Sixth Man of the Year every single year if he really wanted to be.
I mean, it's funny to think about if he would have actually went to a team where he could have been a starter. I mean, at what point did they rename the 6-man the Lou Award? I mean, it's been a running meme for years, but there's a reason why. And right now the Clippers are first in 3-point shooting. I think they're second in 3-pointers made though, behind the Jazz, and he's a big part of that because he can stroke it. PG's looking great. Now, I want to appease a lot of Detroit Piston fans for just 1 minute. We'll say Luke Kennard for a hot second. Just because a lot of Detroit Pistons fans are so mad that they got rid of him.
Yeah.
So I just want to troll for a minute, but no.
Funny.
Now there's
I do like Luke. He's a good pickup for them.
I like Luke Kennard, but there are a lot of Pistons fans, man, and sorry if you're a Pistons fan in the comments, but there's a lot of Pistons fans that he was the second coming of Jordan to them. So never quite got it, but also not quite sure why y'all got rid of him. But in all honesty, I got to go with Serge Ibaka.
Okay.
I mean,
can see that. Okay.
He was a huge part with the Thunder. He was a huge part on that Raptors championship run. The guy just brings winning everywhere he goes. And as he's gotten older, he's not Serge Ibaka anymore. He's not gonna, he's not gonna get you 2, 3, 4 blocks a game, but he can still stretch the floor. He's a high energy guy. He's a smart IQ guy, and from everything I know, he's a great locker room guy.
Mm.
And just bring that defensive presence, bring in that ability to stretch and help score, just all the little things that he does. I thought Serge Ibaka was a huge pickup for the Clippers.
I do. I like him. Not opposed, but you have to have somebody in replacement for Montrez, and I think he was a good piece to replace Montrez with. I don't think he's going to give you that explosiveness and that youth that you would have got from Montrez, obviously, because he's a little bit older. But he's going to be able to give you that IQ game. He's going to be able to say, "Oh, this is the kind we got to watch this offensive play," and he's going to be able to read some of those keys that other teams are going to do as far as different kind of plays and things that they try to run and get over. So he's going to be like a coach on the court.
Yeah,
that might make sense because he's been there and he's a champion, man. I mean, he's a champion. So one last one though, because Milwaukee is also they're number 2 in the East. Who would you say is the X factor for Milwaukee?
Easy, Dante DiVincenzo.
Mm.
Don't even gotta think about it. If he can hit threes and help space the floor, he's getting a lot more starting minutes. It just comes down to it. If he can help score and shoot the ball from 3, which we saw at Nova he can do. He's had flashes in the league with Milwaukee that he can shoot the ball. If he can just get be a consistent 3-point threat, be a consistent good third option behind Giannis and Chris Middleton, I think they're going to need it. And when you think of an X factor to me for Milwaukee, it always goes to him.
Okay.
Also, I love saying his name, Dante DiVincenzo.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that, but I do pick somebody differently. I'm looking at Drew Holiday, man. I'm feeling like he's gonna be the third option that they're gonna need to score on their team. As of right now, they picked him up for that reason, to be that third option, maybe even a second option on games where Chris Middleton may not show up or you just can't get that clutch gene. Drew Holiday, man, I don't want to say he's underrated, but he is a player that come this season, when they get into those playoff runs, he's gonna be that piece that's gonna make a difference. You know what I mean? And they're gonna see that. That's why they picked him up. That's what he's needed here for. He's one of the ones that can play offensive and defensively. He's a big point guard. You know what I mean? So he's one of the ones that's gonna be able to help offensively, defensively. But he's gonna be he's gonna be that guy, man. Just watch. Like I said, I'm excited to prove you wrong when the playoffs come about. And Drew Holiday is winning some of those games. Now we're gonna come back to this conversation right here. I'm gonna say, now, do you agree?
All right, so let me correct my point. I meant to say fourth option behind him and Drew, not third option. Wrong year.
So good.
But for me, I can't really consider Drew Holiday an X factor because he's one of those guys. Like, he's a guy, if he don't show up, the X factor don't mean nothing. The X factor to me is that if your main stars show up, then who's that guy that's going to put you over the edge? Who's that guy that's going to get you those extra points to win that close game against Philly, against Boston, or if they make the finals against the Lakers or Clippers, whatever it may be. And I just think Holiday is too good to be considered an X factor because we know that he's a monster. We know he's a beast. Many players have been on record saying he's one of the hardest point guards to play against because of his defensive tenacity, his ability to score on offense, and just the leadership he brings.
Gotcha.
So Drew Holiday is a monster and he's a fun player to watch. So I ain't gonna hate on that there. I think he's a tier above being considered an X factor.
Okay, I respect it. I cannot argue with that, man. As long as you put some respect on that man's name, there's no argument there.
Always putting respect on Holiday's name, man. Him and his brothers.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of them too, isn't there?
3 now.
Yeah,
Justin, Drew, and
I don't remember the other one's name, but I do know Justin and Drew though.
Justin and the other one play together with the Pacers.
Yeah, Aaron or something like that.
Aaron Holiday, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
All right, so before we wrap it up,
okay,
because we've been going for a while here.
Yeah, it's been a fun conversation, man. I'm sorry. It's been going. It's been long as far as the timeline, but it hasn't been long as far as me sitting here. I feel like it's just a good flowing convo.
No, I just looked down at my clock and was like, "Oh crud." we've been recording for almost 2 hours now. So
goodness graciousness,
it's been nuts. But so the last thing I want to bring up, the last topic I want to talk about, because it is one that is near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
The big man is back in the NBA.
That's a fact for sure. Yeah.
If you recall, about 2-3 years ago, and it was when the Warriors really revolutionized small ball. Obviously, the Rockets were doing it. That traditional center was coming out of the league because you had to be able to shoot threes. You had to be able to switch every position. You had to be able to pretty much be a guard. And my always thought process was when a center becomes dominant, because the league does run in flows.
Mhm.
When you get another big dominant guy who's going to bully the smaller guys around you, it's going to change back.
Mhm.
And we saw it on what night was it? Saturday night, I believe. The
Mhm.
first game between Boston and Philly
Mhm.
when they had Tice on Embiid, and he was just tossing him around.
He was giving.
He,
He was a little man, like too
too
small.
big, too strong.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at most polls right now, some of the top, was it two of the top five are for MVP is Joel Embiid, who is
Mhm.
personally my number one pick for the MVP this year,
Mm.
and you have the Joker. Two big men that do it in different ways. Embiid just will physically dominate you, can hit the three. Joker just has, I mean, he like a little point guard, a 7 foot
Mhm.
body, and then you have Clint Capella get a triple double with points, rebounds, and blocks. I mean, Bam Adebayo had a 40-point, I think it was 2 nights ago
Yep.
against the Nets. The big man's back, man. I am loving it, but I've rambled enough there. What are your thoughts? Give me some love for the big guys.
For sure, man. The big men are definitely back. I honestly feel like the big men never really left. I feel like some teams have tried to play smaller ball, but I don't think it's ever going to be a league without the big man because I mean the game has started inside out, and I think it'll always be that way. Yes, players are shooting the three ball more, but when it comes down to how much it comes down to how much efficiency can you get from a three-point line. Like every player can't shoot a three-pointer, but every player can lay the ball up, can dunk the ball for the most part. You're gonna be percentage as far as scoring is always gonna be better driving the ball than three-point. And if it's not, there's something wrong with you trying to go inside the paint. Like you must there's something wrong with your team. If you shooting more three-pointers at a more higher efficiency than driving to the rack. And I feel like the game is always gonna be that way. So you can try to eliminate the big man, but the big man is always gonna be there. Much shout out to Clint Capella. 10 blocks is not an easy accomplishment. That's incredible. An incredible feat. That is clap it up to him, man. That's incredible. But I'm happy to see that it's actually coming back to the forefront as far as the big man. They're getting some respect on their name as they should be getting. And as you see with Rudy Gobert, man, you see just kind of that big contract, man. He ain't no 3-point shooter. He's just a big man that's gonna control the paint, and you're gonna think twice before you come in there against him.
And that's my thing with it. Like I never liked the obviously the Warriors death lineup when they went small with Draymond at the center.
Mm-hmm.
I get why it worked, but I mean, look at the Lakers what they were doing. They went a big lineup with McGee and AD, and it worked.
Yeah,
And what I want to see is because the last time, let me ask you this: do you know the last time a center won the MVP?
I probably was Shaq in 2000. Yeah.
Bingo.
Laker fan, man. Come on, you can't tell me. Come on, you can't come at me with some shit like that, man. Knowing I'm a Lakers fan, gonna ask me a question like that. Come
I was gonna
on,
try to
man.
catch you. I was gonna try to catch you, but it's just that's my
Your
point with it
mic.
because
I can't hear you. I don't know what happened. I'm not gonna hear you. I can hear you now. What'd you
there
say?
we go, there we go. I said that's the point with it. Like it, I want to see the big man get it because if you look back, take out Giannis Antetokounmpo. I just really butchered his last name.
So good.
Take Giannis out, and most of the last MVPs were guards. So you have Curry's run, you have James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and then it went back to the small forward with KD and some guys through there. You look in the finals, it's been let's see, LeBron James, so small forward. You had Kevin Durant, small forwards, Kawhi Leonard, small forward, Andre Iguodala, small forward. So there's been a lot of love for the small forward, which as there should be, because a lot of the great ones can, they can slow down the centers up to the power forwards. They can go down guard, do the guards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to see that the big man who was the odd man out for a lot of this is starting to get some love again. And I love to see. I don't care if it's the Joker. I don't care if it's Embiid. I'd love to see a big man win the MVP, and I'd love to see a big man win Finals MVP. I love that bully ball. I like watching it. So I'll leave it at that.
Man, listen. So for the closing note, I'm gonna say I agree. Of course, man. You can't be mad at that, bro. Like I said, the game has always been since the beginning of time. When Wilt Chamberlain was in there bullying little farmer dudes back in the day. That was probably 6'7", 6'6", dunking on everybody. You know what I mean? The game was inside, and then you kicked it out. You have something inside. You got double team. You kicked it out. They shot a 3-pointer. That's the way the game goes. That's the way the game should continue to go. I'm not mad at teams shooting 3-pointers at all. I just think that when you just take away the inside game, you're just not as efficient, man. And teams are going to be able to utilize that. If I put my hand to your face like that, man, at a 3-point line, how many shots you going to make unless you're Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry, man? You know what I'm saying? So.
And that's my thing. For every, we'll use guys in the league today. For every Steph Curry, for every, Luca, Trae Young, okay, not Luca, but every Curry, Trae, Bradley Beal, Dame and CJ, Dame Dollar and CJ, those guys that you don't really affect their shot. If they miss, it's because they missed. There's a lot more who think they're like that. I mean, literally one of the first games of the season, I watched my Bulls and watched Wendell Carter just hike up 3 after 3, who I'm like, you're our center. Get there, get in the paint, and that we can't have that. So to see, a lot of the guys trying to blue ball down there, to see Embiid do what he does, and you gotta love the comments he will always be making after the games. But so yeah, I think we'll call it a show here. Or you want one more topic?
One more topic, man. We didn't talk about. Come on, man. Game of the week. You thought of the topic and didn't even. Come on, man. Game of the week. What is your thoughts for game of the week? If you don't have it, I'm gonna start off because I already have mine.
Start off. I had mine written down, and my phone just died.
So my game, because today is the 25th, which is a Monday. Game of the week is going to be. There's no argument, so you don't have to disagree. You don't have to look it up because I already gave you the game of the week is going to be Wednesday, the 27th of January, Lakers versus 76ers, game of the week. I'm going to be tuned in, glued to the TV. I want to see what's going to happen with this game because this is possibly going to be what the finals going to look like, man, depending upon how teams show up. So I want to see what this game is going to look like, man. Number one versus number quote-unquote one. If you're looking at it, I think the Clippers are number one, but they got the same record as the Lakers. So I'm going to say the Lakers are number one because I'm a Laker fan. So number one versus number one.
So the Lakers are definitely number one. I do know right now the Clippers are technically the first seed. And I can tell you for dang well, I'm going to be tuning in for that game.
Yep.
But there's another one on here that I'm going to have to say is another game of the week.
Which one is that one?
It ain't got the records. It ain't got the, could be a preview of the finals.
You're going to say some Dallas Mavericks or something type of shit. Go ahead.
No,
man.
I'm not going to say some Dallas Mavericks stuff. We going with another contender in the East.
Okay.
Versus a young buck. Brooklyn Nets versus Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young versus Irving.
Okay.
I want to see Capella out there again. I want to see what he can do when you have, because this is where we're going to need to see if Deandre Jordan can actually step up. Because if he can't and Capella just boys him around, it's going to be a long night for the Nets because you're going to keep giving Trae Young options or Trae Young opportunity to shoot.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. I don't think it's game of the week, but I'm definitely going to be tuned in for that one because I want to see how that one plays out. Brooklyn is one of those teams that are going to be magnified as far as watching them for the entire season. We're going to keep looking to see what they do. We're going to continue to judge them. We're going to continue to see what kind of changes they make as the season goes on and how much defense they can play and how the team is going to be cohesiveness-wise. I mean, you have James Harden who wanted to go there for a reason. Obviously, because he thought he won the championship there. So we're gonna scrutinize and see how they're gonna play throughout the season. Like I said, I think they should trade Kyrie while they have the chance with that value, but we'll see how they play, and I'm gonna be tuned into that game for sure.
All right, one last point on that. Okay. The Nets can't trade Kyrie.
Yeah, why can't they? What you mean? Why can't they trade him? This is like this clause or something. He got a no trade clause or something I don't know about.
No, he got my best friend is a superstar here, Kevin Durant.
Yes, okay, that's fair.
You trade Irving as, I mean, we all know my love for KD. I think he is one of the great players and will go down in history as one of the best ever pick up basketball.
I agree.
Things he can do, no one else can. Kevin Durant is not the most stable mentally person that we have seen in the NBA. And that's not a hot take. Anyone knows that.
And are you saying that because he had a burner account on Twitter? Is that why you're saying that?
No, I don't care about the burner accounts, but you've seen all the eruptions from him and the comments and the fighting. It's just Kevin be Kevin. We'll let him be Kevin.
Yeah.
I just think if you trade his best friend, it's going to cause a lot more turmoil. And I get it. Harden is one of his boys as well. They have that there, but the last thing you want to do, you gave up way too much assets to then and what? Because Kevin Durant becomes a free agent in 2 years. So
I believe so.
You then leaves. You give up you mortgage your future. If you do not re-sign Kevin, Harden, and Irving, then what was it for? So if you trade Irving and then take off KD walks in free agency, Harden's not staying, he's gone.
Mhm.
What do you have then? You have no picks to rebuild.
Mhm.
You have almost nothing. So I don't think they can trade Irving. I think that they'll have to figure it out.
Mm.
Hopefully they can use some of the open roster spots they have. But
Yeah, man. On that note, I'm not. Like I said, I think they should look into trading them just because of chemistry wise, they can't all dribble the ball all day. It's just not going to work. I think that KD is possibly going to see that as well. It's going to become a point where egos and things are going to clash, man. We want to win games. I mean, it's bigger than just being friends on the court. I think that at some point it's got to be basketball and winning or nothing, and then that friendship thing goes out of the window. Unfortunately, we can still be able to remain friends, but this basketball and this winning comes first. So we'll see. I'm excited to see how it goes moving forward. I mean, on that note, man, we are pretty much out of here. We've been on here for like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. We gave them enough, man. I got a lot of clickbait, so we are going to be able to use a lot of this and make a lot of promo videos out of this. This is pretty much our pilot to the I Disagree podcast, and it's going to be great moving forward. We should set up another episode either Saturday or Friday. I think, man, we might have to do another one. I'm excited.
Dang right. Only thing I gotta say is though,
yeah,
for everyone watching, I'm sure you're all sick of me. I know you ain't sick of this beautiful man over there. So Chris, tell them where they can get more content of you.
I mean, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I don't even know what it is. I think it's Keir, KEIR_Scott914. I believe that's my Instagram. I think Twitter is the same thing, Keir Scott. All my platforms pretty much are. And I'm going to be posting some of the content on my Instagram as well, so they can feel free to reach out to me there. I know we got the YouTube page. Give them that information, man, as far as the YouTube page that we got working on.
YouTube page is C&T Sportscast. Follow us, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, help the algorithm. Twitter account, same thing. C&T Sportscast at twitter.com. Links in the description. Chris, I'm telling you, you got another podcast that you do.
Oh yeah, I got
plug it, man. Always be plugging.
I got No Scripts podcast, of course, but I didn't even want to add that on here because that's like a whole nother entity in itself. I didn't think I wanted to add that on it. Of course, it says Keir Scott on here. If you're looking at my display, my name is Chris Warren. My middle name is Keir Scott. I go by the alias. I used to rap back in the day, blah blah blah. Watch the show.
Check that out.
Learn a little more about it, man. But thank you, Ty, man. It was a great show, man. We had a wonderful experience. We got to get back on this week. We're gonna schedule another day this week to come back on because we want to talk about some of the follow-up games and some of the things, and I mean, get in tune. So let's make it happen.
As long as you want to take this out, man, let's do it.
Listen, man, I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you guys for enjoying. Until next time, we will be back with you for more detail with the I Disagree podcast. Thank you for your time. Take care and good evening, guys.